So we've learned about two of the four opponent powers so far, the power of reliance and the power of regret. So for the next couple of days I'm going to talk a little bit about the power of remedial action. It's also sometimes called the power of the antidote or the power of the remedy. Remedial action or an antidote is doing a virtuous action in the context of the four opponent powers. And these actions then are the actual means to purify the negative action that caused us to regret. And so in the Vajrasattva practice, doing the visualization and reciting the 100-syllable mantra is the remedial action in that practice. That's what we've been doing. So in the sadhana, in this part, it says that from the hung at Vajrasattva's heart, light radiates in all directions, requesting the Buddhas to bestow their blessings. And so as we do that visualization to really imagine these really strong light rays going out in all directions from Vajrasattva's heart, really calling upon all of the Buddhas to come and bestow their blessings. And they accept the request and send white rays of light and nectar, the essence of which is the excellent qualities of their body, speech, and mind. So then again, the visualization of really imagining all of that light and nectar coming back to Vajrasattva. This light and nectar absorb into the hung and the letters of the mantra at Vajrasattva's heart. They then fill his whole body completely, enhancing the magnificence of his appearance and increasing the brilliance of the mantra. And so when we do this visualization, it really gives us a chance to really feel like we're in the presence of Vajrasattva, that he is actually above the crown of our head, and that he is looking upon us with total acceptance, absolutely no judgment at all, just love and compassion. His own whole agenda is just to try and be of benefit. That's what he's doing. And then the sadhana goes on. While reciting the mantra, visualize that white rays of light and nectar stream continuously from the hung and the mantra at Vajrasattva's heart. They flow down through the crown of your head and fill every cell of your body and mind with infinite bliss. Now when the light, white light and the nectar is flowing into us, it's not filling us up with disgust and hatred for the negativities that we've created. So it's really important at this point to really check your mind to see if you're holding your negativities in a very solid, unchanging way, kind of like a big brick that you then carry around with you that, you know, is just this solid, solid identity, really. So we really want to, if you feel like that's what's going on, or you notice that, you know, that it really seems something that's impenetrable, you can't change it, then it's important to think that this is the work of the self-centered attitude. Yeah? And that's our enemy, and that is not part of us. It's an affliction. Yeah? So what we want to do is turn our mind to think about, again, we anchor ourselves in our regret, this heartfelt regret. I made a mistake. That's all it is. I made a mistake. And I want to repair that mistake now. I want to transform it. And with this practice, I can do that. So I really, at this point now, feel so much relief that I've found something that actually works. to change these negativities so that I don't experience their suffering result. And so we really want to make sure that our mind is in kind of that proper place as we then do the visualization and let the light and nectar stream in. So these four opponent powers, they're embedded in this Vajrasattva practice. They also are in some of the other purification practices. The other one that we do here at the Abbey is the Bodhisattva's Confession of Ethical Downfalls, prostrations to the 35 Buddhas. But it's also good to know that the four opponent powers can be done on their own. They don't have to be embedded into a practice like this. You can go through, kind of in a simplified way, I guess, but go through the points and just use the four opponent powers. And there's a good story in the Liberation in the Palm of Your Hand by Pabanka Rinpoche where he explains or describes about Atisha. He was that great Lama from India that traveled to Tibet to reestablish the pure Dharma in Tibet. And there's stories of him that he would be walking about or even on his horse or whatever, traveling around, and he'd stop what he was doing when he noticed that he had a negativity of some kind, body, speech, or mind, and he would stop immediately what he was doing. He'd go down on his knee, and he'd purify it immediately with the four opponent powers. And so that story tells me a lot. It tells me that if a great master that is highly realized is using the four opponent powers at that stage, there's no even need to talk about what I need to be doing. Yeah. Yeah. And then also that it can be used not only just in kind of a formal practice time, but any time that you are aware of that you've had a negative or a non-virtuous thought or action, that you can apply this. Mm-hmm. And I think the reason why Atisha was practicing this way is because he understood the workings of negative actions or negative karma. So there are four aspects that if we keep these in mind, it will keep us kind of embedded in purification practices. So if we do a negative action, it's certain to bring suffering. This karmic action, this seed, doesn't get lost. It doesn't somehow disappear magically. It stays with us. It grows exponentially, kind of like if you take out a loan, a big sum of money, the interest keeps accumulating, yeah, moment by moment. And then the most important is that if it's eradicated by purification, it will not bring a suffering result to us. So that's the important point. So purification practice is our friend, for sure. It's not something that we beat ourselves up with. It's something that's very helpful and that we're going to be doing a long, long time. So we want to get really familiar with it and very comfortable with it. And have a mind of relief. And actually it can be joyous that, whew, it's so good that I found this and now I'm going to apply it. And that's going to transform then what I'm going to experience in the future. This is good news. You know? So next time I'll talk a little bit about the scriptures, the sutras, the different methods that they talk about, the different remedial actions that we can use.